Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Phil Games, and you may have noticed from the title that the subject of this video is pretty specific. So, why am I making this? Why do I think it's worthwhile to mention this? Well, first off, I know that the majority of people watching this video are probably big fans of Undertale, and more specifically Glitchtale, so I thought that relating this to something that you guys already know might be helpful. Second, I really want to talk about Kingdom Hearts on this channel, and I want you guys to know what I'm talking about, and I want to be able to talk about it together. I know that my Twitter followers are already annoyed at me for talking about Kingdom Hearts so much, so if I want to do it here, it would be nice to have people who actually care. Plus, I really do think that there are a lot of similarities between Undertale and Kingdom Hearts. So let me try to explain, without spoilers of course, why I think you guys should at least try to get into Kingdom Hearts. And for those of you who are skeptical, just know that I definitely didn't plan on becoming as invested in the series as I am now when I first ventured into it, and I've heard the same from others, so the same thing might happen to you, who knows. So what kind of similarities between these two stories am I talking about? One thing for sure is the theme. Aside from its amazing morality system and meta-narrative, the adventure through Undertale can basically be explained by saying that you go through the world befriending characters, or murdering them, but that's not important right now, and through your mostly silent protagonist simply being there for them, making them all better people than they were before. In a similar way, friendship is by far the most prominent theme throughout the Kingdom Hearts series. Undertale is definitely more subtle and nuanced about it, but this doesn't make either one more or less powerful than the other. And what's the best way to show good friendship? Well, that's where we get into our second reason that I think many Undertale fans will like Kingdom Hearts. They both have amazing characters. I don't really have much to say about Undertale's characters, as they have received praise from basically anyone ever who's talked about this game, and are some of the main reasons why people love Undertale so much. Even so, it was actually Undertale's plot that got me personally invested in the game, but it was the characters of Kingdom Hearts that got me really hooked on this story. When talking about the story by itself and not the gameplay, the characters and the relationships they form with each other are what many would consider to be the best and most important part of the entire series. Honestly, this is probably the biggest reason that I think lots of Undertale fans will love what Kingdom Hearts has to offer, even if the writing isn't nearly as good as it is in Undertale.
I mean really, darkness within darkness. Darkness within freaking darkness.
Stop complaining and continue with the script.
To be honest, it's kind of amazing that there are so many good characters, because at this point there are just so many characters in the story that are basically of equal importance, and most of them differentiate from each other really well. And for many of them, we're only just beginning to learn all there is to know about their backstory and true motivations and stuff like that, and that leads nicely into my next point. Unlike Undertale, Kingdom Hearts is an ongoing series. I know that most of you watching this probably came from Glitchtale, unless the YouTube algorithm really likes this video for some reason, and I also know that many of you can get really impatient when it comes to getting new Glitchtale content. And you're certainly not getting any more official Undertale content, not until Deltarune is completely finished anyway, and who knows how long that will be. Kingdom Hearts, on the other hand, receives official new story content fairly consistently. In fact, a ton of new story updates for the mobile game Union Cross were announced just recently to be coming out throughout the end of this year, and the release of the highly anticipated Remind DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 is drawing near as well, and the hype is real! I mean, I'm sure you guys have your own hype for other things, but the hype for more additions to the Kingdom Hearts story is really unlike anything else I've ever seen. Maybe it will be able to hold you over until more Glitchtale stuff comes out so you can stop pestering Cammy about it. Not saying my audience specifically are the ones doing the pestering, but still. Now, I probably should take some time to address some concerns you guys might have about getting into the series. Looking in from the outside, you might think that it's really weird seeing Disney characters run around with these Final Fantasy anime-looking people, and it kind of is, but trust me, you'll get over it pretty fast. I honestly could care less about pretty much all the Disney stuff, and some of the Disney characters, namely Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Maleficent, and Pete, just feel like Kingdom Hearts characters to me at this point. Oh, and Yensid. I legit forgot that he was a Disney character. My point is, the amazing original characters completely overshadow the weirdness of having Disney characters with them. Don't get me wrong, it's still a pretty weird series, but hey, Undertale's kinda weird too. I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. But of course, the biggest worry you probably have is how excessively complicated you've heard the story is. I can't deny that it's pretty hard to understand at times, but don't let that scare you away. The games actually do a fairly good job of explaining themselves throughout most of the series. It was really only the last big mainline entry before Kingdom Hearts 3 that gave it this reputation of being complicated, and with good freaking reason, but we'll get there in a bit. While the plot itself isn't the main draw of the series, that being the characters as I mentioned before, the more recent games are becoming better and better at doing super hype plot twist reveals, so I for one am really excited to see what they're going to do next. Now I have one last point I want to bring up. Well, it might take a while to get through, but it is the last point, and that is that the story of Kingdom Hearts is super accessible to everyone. You can actually buy the entire series in one package with the Kingdom Hearts all-in-one bundle on the PlayStation Store for only $100, which may sound like a lot until you remember that this is 6 whole games, 1 half game, and 3 movies, which I will explain in a bit. The only stipulation then would be the aforementioned mobile game Union Cross, but all of its main story cutscenes are available on YouTube from several different sources, the most well-known being KH Insider. In fact, if you don't want to play any of the games or can't, but still want to get into the story, you can easily find all the cutscenes from all the games on YouTube. Take it from me, the guy who hasn't actually played a single Kingdom Hearts game. I want to, but I can't. And so to make it even more accessible to you guys, I'm going to give you what I personally think is the best order to experience the entire story. I do have a lot of notes to go along with each game, especially for people who just want to watch the cutscenes, but trust me and bear with me here, it will be worth it. Okay, so as this video was being edited, I thought about this section and realized that it kind of sounded like I was saying that what I'm about to say is the only way that you will get the most out of the stories of these games, uh, or even the best way. I think I even said that in the video. But I do want to clarify that I do not think that you will not enjoy the series if you don't do it this way. This is just for if somebody were watching this video and was like, okay, I want to try to get into the series, and they were to ask me what order I thought they should do it in, if they were someone who cares about the continuity of the story as much as I do and wants to experience it in as close of a thing as there is to a right order. And since this is so long after the video was originally recorded, I will be interjecting like this a few more times, so sorry about that, and I feel like I'm forgetting something that I wanted to say here, so maybe check down in the comments to see if there's a pinned comment from me or something, but other than that, on with the video. Oh, I remembered something. If you don't care about any of this stuff that I'm about to say and just want to watch the outro, then skip to this timestamp. Alright, here we go. First, Kingdom Hearts 1. Yes, even though there are some prequels, you should definitely still start with the first game. If you're just watching the cutscenes of this game, and most of the other games too actually, you can probably skim through most of the Disney worlds if you want to get through the main story faster. And I say skim because there are parts during these worlds that you should watch. Just keep an eye out for when important characters show up, important characters being any original character, besides Sora of course, and Maleficent, and Pete in later games. Watch all the scenes with them involved. Also, you should probably know that towards the end of the game there is a secret super boss encounter that is canon and will be referenced in future games. I don't know exactly how to find it, but just know that it exists. Chain of Memories. I've heard a lot of people say that they really don't like the gameplay of this game, so they've just skipped it, and that's fine, but do not skip out on the story. It's super important for setting up the next games. If you are watching the cutscenes on YouTube, make sure that you watch both the main story and Riku's story, called Reverse/Rebirth for some reason. I found a good video by Kingdom Shader 13, link in description, which includes both stories and all the Disney worlds, although you can completely skip most of the worlds in this game, but I would recommend you watching through Hollow Bastion during Riku's story, and a world that you won't recognize yet during the main story. 358 Days Over 2. Yes, that is how it's pronounced. I have no idea why, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to be calling it Days for the rest of this video. And whoo boy, this one's going to have a lot of notes attached. So, Days was originally a Nintendo DS game, but it was never completely remade for all the HD bundles like all of the other games that were originally handheld games were. Only a handful of its cutscenes were remade and put into a 3-hour movie. You can just watch the movie if you want, but if you want to take the longer and more rewarding route through the story, I would recommend doing it through the Kingdom Hearts Timeline by Everglow on YouTube. I'll link to this enormous playlist in the description. This version has both the remade cutscenes from the movie, plus all the others from the original game, plus secret reports that can only be found in the original game, plus some other neat surprises that can't be found anywhere else but in this timeline. Plus it skips the movie's opening cinematic thing, which is really confusing if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 2 yet. If you want to watch the story this way, which I highly recommend, well, you might want to write this down. You'll want to start by watching episode 48 of the timeline, starting at timestamp 2440 through the end of the episode. Then one quick scene in episode 49 at 1233 through 1252, and another at the end of episode 51 starting at 3747, and then finally you can move on to the main story in episodes 52 through 88. You got all that? Good, because there's still more. Since Days actually starts before and partially happens during Chain of Memories, and this is a chronological timeline of all the scenes from all the games, you will have to skip through a lot of Chain of Memories stuff, or just skim if you want to see how that game's two stories line up together and with Days. If you want to avoid some smaller spoilers, you will want to avoid reading all the secret reports that are not written by Roxas or Shion. And there will be some Kingdom Hearts 2 secret reports in there too, probably don't read those. And there will be some references to the prequels that Everglow edited in there, you'll just have to ignore those, but I mean, the movie itself referenced the prequels, so at that point, there's just not much that you can do but realize that you're not supposed to understand it yet. Trust me guys, watching it this way is worth it. Unless you're lazy and just want to watch the movie and not have as good of an experience with several of the following stories, I guess I can't stop you. Watching it in the timeline can be quite a bit of a drag at times throughout the middle, even if you do skip all of Roxas' solo missions, which I recommend, but still, worth it. Kingdom Hearts 2. A lot of other fans of the series will adamantly try to convince you to play/watch Kingdom Hearts 2 before watching Days, as Days actually did come out after Kingdom Hearts 2 did, and it will spoil some parts of Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, you can, it will just be a very different experience, and both orders of experiencing these two stories will have their own pros and cons. So what I was kind of getting at with that thing is that I have heard from people who have done it both ways, watched 2 first or watched Days first, and both of them have said that they are glad that they experienced the story that way. So take from that what you will, do whatever you want. If you do watch Days first, really the only part of Kingdom Hearts 2 that will feel way different than it was originally meant to is the prologue, but because of everything that happens after that, I firmly believe that watching Days first is the best idea. Days gives so many moments in Kingdom Hearts 2 so much more emotional payoff than they would have had otherwise, and it really helps everything from Kingdom Hearts 1 to the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 to feel like one complete story. Also, I guess there is the fact that Kingdom Hearts 2 makes out the face reveals of several characters that you will already have seen in Days to be a big deal for some reason, so that might feel a little weird too. And yes, I did only put this in the Kingdom Hearts 2 section instead of the Days section because the Days section was getting too long and I had nothing else to say about Kingdom Hearts 2. Don't judge. Coded. Now this was a Japanese-only browser game that was then remade for the DS as Recoded, and then had a handful of its cutscenes turned into a 3-hour HD movie. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything as complicated as with Days for this one, just watch the movie. Days is one of, if not my all-time favorite story in the series, but this one, you're not going to understand what's going on, and you don't really have to. You kind of just have to know that it happened, who was involved, that data worlds are a thing that are going to become somewhat important, and then pay attention to the last 20 minutes or so. I believe this actually did come out after the next game I'll bring up, but I'm putting it here because it acts as a pretty nice epilogue to Kingdom Hearts 2, as well as basically setting up what the main point of everything that happens from now until Kingdom Hearts 3 will be. Actually, now that I've thought about it a little bit more, these two, Coded and Birth by Sleep, even more so than with Days and Kingdom Hearts 2, could really go either way. It is not really going to change your experience all that much more with either game. But actually, again, now that I've thought about it a little more, you might want to go with Birth by Sleep first, just so that you will understand things that are happening towards the end of Coded. And also, Coded does act as a pretty good prologue. I said it was a good epilogue to Kingdom Hearts 2, but it's also a really good prologue to the game that chronologically comes right after it. So, really do whatever you want with these two. Birth by Sleep. Our first prequel. This game is structured by first having an intro, then splitting into 3 campaigns, then having the true ending unlock once you beat all 3. I recommend playing the campaigns in the order the game gives you, Terra, Ventus, then Aqua. If you're just watching these online, either watch them in that order or find a video that puts them roughly in chronological order. And be sure to watch the secret ending as well, not just the true ending, the secret ending. As much as I would like to recommend Everglow's timeline again because of how well made this section is, the flashbacks in Birth by Sleep actually do have quite a few big spoilers this time, so probably don't do that. At least once you're finished with the whole game, go and watch episode 30 of the timeline because it's awesome. Dream Drop Distance. And here's where the story goes off the rails. From here on out, you just have to accept that there's going to be things that happen that you have no idea how or why, at least on a first go. Many of these things are quite awesome though. Well, maybe not as much in this game specifically, but you're almost there. Also, if you're trying to understand what's going on with Traverse Town, don't. It doesn't apply to anything else in the game. Key/back cover/Union Cross. So, Key was a Japanese-only browser/mobile game that got discontinued, got an hour-long HD movie called Back Cover explaining part of the story from a different perspective, then got a worldwide remake/sequel thing called Unchained Key that once it actually got to the true sequel part was rebranded as Union Cross. So what's the best way to experience all this story? Simple. Everglow's timeline, episodes 1 through 11. Nice and easy. More cutscenes have been released since he made the timeline, and they can be found on his channel in a playlist that I will link in the description. If you're watching this video fairly soon after I make it, there's supposed to be a lot of new Union Cross stuff coming soon, and if you want to see the new cutscenes the fastest after their release, I would recommend subscribing to KH Insider on YouTube. 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a Fragmentary Passage. I have no idea what this title means, but I'm calling it 0.2. This game is only a few hours long and is basically the prologue to Kingdom Hearts 3. Not much else to say. And finally, Kingdom Hearts 3. Only one thing to say. In the final world, talk to all the stars. You'll know what I mean when you get there. If you're watching it online and the video you're watching doesn't talk to the stars, quickly search Kingdom Hearts 3 Final World Stars and find a video where someone does. Also, if you're just watching, watch the version by Gamer's Little Playground, link in description. They have to replace a copyrighted song at the end, and what they replace it with makes it so much better! In my humble opinion. Okay, not so humble. I guess that was more than one thing that I had to say. And one more thing. This game is good. Don't let anyone tell you what to think about this game, just know that it is good. That was a joke. Oh gosh, I just spent more time going through all the Kingdom Hearts games than actually relating it to Undertale. See, I told you that section would be long. I really wish I could go on this journey with you guys like on stream or something instead of having to give all these guidelines, but that would require a PS4 and the games and a capture card and good Wi-Fi, which would all require money, which I do not have, so that's not going to be happening anytime soon. Anyway, there probably was more I could have said about the similarities between Undertale and Kingdom Hearts, like how they both have great music, how they're both at least semi-connected to anime in some way, how they both have lead creators that seem to really care about the story, but I guess the biggest similarity is how both stories really tug at your heart, no pun intended, in the best way. It really is crazy that a single story just as heartfelt as Undertale's could be owned by both a multi-billion-dollar company and a big AAA game developer, go on for over 15 years, and still be so well loved. That is what makes Kingdom Hearts so special. And I know that I am not the first to say that right now is an amazing time to be a Kingdom Hearts fan. I really hope that I have convinced you to at least give it a try. and I hope that those of you that do will come to love it as much as I do. Please just do it, guys. Please, I want to talk about it on my channel so bad, and I want you to care. Please, 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 please.